Dr. Anthony Harp here, blessed to be at National Religious Broadcasters Convention here in Orlando, Florida, and I know you're with us. Very, very important docudrama regarding gender transformation, and share with our viewers, our listeners, your name and your role with on this docudrama and your connection with Epoch Times.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Tobias. I'm a filmmaker from Stockholm, Sweden. And I've been working with films for the past 13 years, full time. And Epoch Times actually asked me now half a year ago if I could do a documentary about transgender, with the topic of transgender, because they've seen that this is a really important, crucial issue that we are facing. And they are making great documentaries in many other subjects as well. But so first I was like, okay, this is a very controversial subject today, and I've seen like a lot of people get attacked by just having a critical view or having another view than than the official view, so to say. So but after looking at a documentary actually made by the Swedish state television, when I was doing my research, then I saw that even the state television in Sweden, they acknowledged, they saw that this is really hurting the children today. And they had a case with a girl. She was 13 years old. She started with the puberty blockers, and she went on for 4 years. And then, you should never do it for 4 years, but she was still allowed by the Karolinska Institute. It was a big hospital in Sweden, and she was allowed to do it, and she totally destroyed her body. The bone density in the body was so badly hurt, and she could barely stand up anymore. So her whole life was ruined. So yeah, after this documentary aired in Sweden, it actually changed a lot in terms of how children are treated when it comes to puberty blockers. So now it's more regulated. So it made a good change. And for me that was very hopeful. I thought, okay, so through documentaries we can make a change. We can have people realize what is really going on when it comes to puberty blockers and cross hormones, how it really affects our children. So I started to do more research, and through that process I came across Abigail Martinez. She's a Christian mother of 4, or it was 4. One of her daughters actually, she lost one of her daughters due to, first she lost the custody. Yeah. And then she actually started, the state took her, and she spent time on a youth place taken care of by the state. And after that, the state ordered that she should take the puberty blockers. And she was allowed to start that process, and she felt so much pain through this. And she started actually regret her decision as well, because she felt like, she thought always that the solution was, if I become a boy, all my problems will be solved. So the reason I feel bad is because I'm in the wrong body. She was taught that by the education system, by the therapist, even the therapist, everyone just affirmed her and into thinking that. But then she realized it was not that way, and then she actually committed suicide.
Oh no!
So, and it's a very tragic case. And then after we had this interview, we were all so touched by it, and we thought we have to do something more than just a regular documentary. So we made it into a feature film and a documentary in one. So we have a drama part where we make the reenactments, and we make the actors play out what happened to her daughter. And then the other part is interviews with experts, with mothers, with detransitioners, people who regret their sex change. So I think that's a powerful mixture of having a real story and then commenting why this is happening, the mechanisms behind it, and eventually we actually go up to why is this actually happening and happening so fast in society.
Well, of all those interviews, did you have a psychiatrist to comment about the mental issues that are associated with these puberty blockers? And
yeah,
you had a psychiatrist.
Yeah, we had Miriam Grossman. She's been in the field for 40 years, and she has done a lot of good research in the subject. And we also had Walt Heyer. He's been helping a lot of detransitioners. and he's been doing also a lot of research about, you know, the underlying issues that usually play out, because that's what we see, that usually the young people who want to change the gender is not because, according to them, it's not because it comes from themselves. It's because they have an underlying issue and they want to solve that. But the thing is that the therapists that are supposed to help them, they're actually playing another part. They're just affirming them, and they're putting them even more into the trans path, and just say, okay, the solution would be that you change your gender. So this is what's so scary, that everyone is just told to, you have to support and affirm your child, whatever they say. If they believe they are in the wrong body, you have to totally just affirm that. You cannot start to look at underlying issues. You cannot start to see, oh, maybe it's because he or she has autism, or, you know, sexual trauma or whatever. No, you cannot do that. You can lose your license.
Wow. Well, I had a recent interview with a psychiatrist about these issues, and it's a great impact. It's really kind of goes all the way back to the psychiatrist in 1973. I'm sure you're aware that we could put a lot of blame on psychiatrists because they paved the way for all this perversion to happen back in 1973 when they removed homosexuality as a mental disorder from their book. It normalized, it set the world stage to accept this perversion. And so I see clearly the blame on the psychiatrists for doing this, because all the other mental health people followed their lead, and they thought, well, they perceived as gatekeepers. If they say there's no problem, then we should do it as well. So it just gave worldwide acceptance, credibility to this perversion. And as you mentioned, you're seeing and witnessing a great impact on children's lives and their development. And about what you were saying about that one child that was it a girl, and she was affected by these puberty blockers. What's happened to her? Has she been able to get any medical help to restore her health?
You mean with the Swedish documentary made before, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So actually, that documentary helped that child a lot, because it actually confronted the hospital. So that was quite strong. And I wish something like that could happen in the US. But that happened in Sweden, and you know, they confronted the doctors at the hospital, and the highest bosses at the hospital as well. So they had to face them, and they had to take the responsibility. And they actually, I don't know the English word for it, but they had to take some responsibility, and they had to go through some procedures to change their actual handling of these matters, and have an official apology. So it changed a lot, and now it's actually harder for Swedish children to just be put on puberty blockers just like that as a solution. But it's still, of course, pushed really hard in society.
Okay, has that been made available to the White House? Because the White House seems to be on steroids, trying to push this agenda through. The White House may not be aware of what's been happening in Sweden on this case, where you've got documentation about the serious impact on their not only their physical health but also their mental health, that leading to the point of suicide. So is that docudrama available that could be sent to the White House to alert them on this issue?
It should be available, and the thing is that there's a lot of information available, a lot of research is available. We have long time studies in Sweden that have been those are the longest studies that have been made is in Sweden and Finland, and they show clearly that actually it's not a higher risk of suicide if you don't change your gender, because that's what they tell the young people. If you don't change your gender now, it's a high risk you commit suicide.
Yes, I hear that.
Yeah, they scare them. And the Swedish studies and the Finnish studies, they actually showed quite the opposite. it could actually be it's a higher risk if you change your gender. Yeah.
So what the children haven't been allowed is to wait this out, because their children are going through a development, and they're really not mentally all fully developed to make these serious decisions on their life. And many of them are regretting, from my understanding.
They are, yeah. And that's a part of the documentary as well. I mean, we have been following 4 detransitioners and seeing how serious impact it has been on them and their lives, and how irreversible this is. So. And how they got influenced in this, and so to see the pattern and to see the mechanism, how it's going on, what's happening, and that's what we do through this. The documentary is 1.5 hours, and then you can see the mechanism in play and the whole pattern. And it's been commented by the experts as well. So
yeah. I know your connection with the Epoch Times, and Epoch Times has been concerned about the influence of CCP.
Yeah.
I'm curious about what the CCP has in their policy regarding these transgender, the surgeries and the puberty blockers and all that. I'm curious about what the CCP has been, how they deal with this.
That's a very good question. In China in general, this is not something that is pushed for, like to change your gender in the same way it's in the West. And what you can see, TikTok, you see that there's a connection between the CCP and the TikTok. It's been clear that there are connections. And you can see through the TikTok that, it's a Chinese app, but if you're in China, the content is more focused on the educational aspects. You can't find so much, sexualized content, but in the West, it's a lot of sexualized content. So, and that I feel shows a little bit about how the CCP and the TikTok, how they are dealing with this. I think they are happy if they see that the West, that we are, totally immersed in gender confusion, so to say. And then China can be strong and prosperous, and it's easier to take over the world if you're,
easier to dominate. For more information for people to learn about your docudramas, how would they? A website to go to, and so what would that be?
Yeah, there is. So gendertransformation.com. That's the official website. So there you can watch 10 minutes of the documentary, and you can learn more. You have more resources there. And also the premiere will be, you can't see the whole movie yet. It will premiere on the Manhattan Film Festival on June the 16th.
Okay.
And 3 days after you can see it on the Epoch TV. It's been streamed there.
Okay. Well, these are so important issues for you all to be aware of, and check out that website Tobias was talking about. And for those that might be curious about that psychiatrist, his name is Larry Banta, is commenting on the impact on children with these puberty blockers, the transgender surgery. It's really greatly impacting their lives. And so thank you for sharing this information. These are urgent issues that need to be dealt with. America, in many ways, has been falling apart, and at CCP, as you mentioned, they're probably very happy to see America unravel.
Yes, I think so.
So
thank you so much.
Again, thank you. What's your website again?
Gendertransformation.com.